It's Laura. It's really loud in here because we're at the Iowa Western Scene Shop. See all the power tools? Ooh, power tools. We're going to interview Donaghy, who's the technical director here, as well as the scenic designer for Little Shop of Horrors. And she's going to talk about her experience in her life. It's awesome. Christine, thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed. Christine's laughing because she's actually my work spouse. We work very closely together, and I told her I was going to do this yesterday. So thank you, even on short notice, letting me interview you. Will you tell my class a little bit about yourself and your experience in your schooling?
Sure. Let's see. I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts from Drake University in Des Moines. That was a long time ago, and then I decided to work in the real world and be a waitress for a while I tried to find what I wanted to do. I worked some carpentry jobs, I built some custom cabinets, and then I decided to go back to grad school, and I went to UNL, and I just graduated, not this last year, but the year before that. Wow. And I got my Master of Fine Arts there in technical direction.
Yay! Can you tell us about a project that you're really proud of, that you felt like came out just exactly how you wanted it to in terms of set design or even as technical director?
Sure. In terms of set design, I was the designer for Taming of the Shrew, and it was a 1980s high school. And so it was really, really cool, and I thought the design just turned out really great. There were tons of different levels. We had a whole bunch of lockers, and all the characters had their own locker decorations, and there was gum under the tables, and I just thought that it really turned out really well. And I got a lot of input from all of my colleagues, and so that was really cool because sometimes you get lost in your own thoughts, and you get so stuck in what you first decide to do, and then people are like, hey, what if we graffitied part of the lockers? And you're like, yeah, that would be perfect. So I just thought overall it was a really cohesive piece, and it was really fun to work on.
Can you talk a little bit, I'm going to take one step back because it occurs to me that some of my students might not understand the difference between a set designer and a technical director. Okay. Will you talk about the differences between the two roles and how you wear those two hats?
Sure. It's hard to wear both hats at the same time. They don't fit.
Most hats doubled up don't look good.
No, they don't look good.
Bad choice.
But I'm doing it right now. So there's that. The scenic designer is in charge of every aspect of how the set looks. So everything from what color the couch is going to be to how big are the walls. So they decide everything about what the set's going to look like, and then they give their design to the technical director, and the technical director decides, okay, so now that I know exactly what I want to look like, then I decide how to build it. So I take down the sizes of the walls, the platforms, if I need to build a couch, all of that information, and I decide, okay, I'm going to build that with 2x4 and plywood, or I'm going to build that with 1x4 and Luan. So basically the TD, the technical director, decides how everything gets built, and then they run the shop and make sure that everything in the shop is running properly. The TD does other stuff, like sometimes different, the lighting designer may not communicate with the scenic designer, and sometimes the technical director needs to step in and help out a little bit with communication. But for the most part, their biggest part of their job is in the scene shop. Building.
That's awesome. Can you talk a little bit, you just talked about communications, and before in your really successful collaboration, you talked about collaboration. Can you talk a little bit about the roles of both collaboration and communication, and how you work with teams of people and how that influences what you decide to do?
Oh, sure. No, if you think, you're the best at everything and you're just going to do exactly what you want to do and you're not going to listen to anybody else, then you should not be in theater. You're not going to succeed.
Done.
You're just not.
So true. We are a family. Ellen Struve talked about the fact that we are a family, and it is true.
Yes.
It is very true.
It's very, very true. So you're constantly, it's a constant collaboration. So people are constantly bouncing ideas off one another, or saying, oh, you want to have, a silk dress, then I won't have rough wood on the set, so it doesn't catch. Right?
Yes.
Laura appreciates that.
I do. As a costume designer, I'm super appreciative.
Yeah. So yeah, communication, collaboration are huge in theater. If you're not so much a people person, then you may want to start to learn how to be a people person, because you have to get along with so many different kinds of people. It's insane. So you really need to get used to that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So can you talk about a time that you had an obstacle or a failure or a mistake that you at the time was like, oh, this is the end of the world, and then you rebounded, and with hindsight or going through it, you were like, hey, this wasn't so bad?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that with every project we do, we have at least one of those little mistakes where we're like, oh crap, that didn't go the way I wanted it to. But in the end, it's over, and there's nothing you can do to redo it. You know, it's the show must go on.
Yeah.
And things happen. So, but yeah, I designed the set for the Pillow Man, and we had a budget of, now I can't remember if it was $100 or $200.
Oh God.
For the entire show. So it was really hard. And it was the Pillow Man, and there was a lot of different scenes in the Pillow Man.
Can you tell us a little bit about Pillow Man? Because I'm assuming most of them don't know the play.
Sure, it's kind of disturbing. The Pillow Man is basically about a guy who has been arrested along with his brother, and he's a storyteller, and he tells stories about children who get killed.
Creepy. Yeah.
And then he writes one of the stories about this guy called a Pillow Man, and he is made of pillows, and he goes back to people who are later on having trouble and wanting to commit suicide. He goes back to them as a child and convinces the child to have an accident.
Whoa.
I know. So it's
we're all
disturbed.
One. Great.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so back to the set design that you only had $100 or $200 for.
Yeah. It was really difficult because of all of the different scenes and all the different stories that are being told. So basically I donated stuff that I didn't care if it got ruined from my house. And so a couple bookshelves later, and you know, a couple huge runs to the Goodwill with getting a whole bunch of toys and everything. We came in under budget, plenty. But it was all kind of subpar. And I was excited about the challenge, but I didn't realize there's only so much time in a day. There's only so many people who will help me. Excuse me. Sawdust.
Hazards of working in the shop.
Yeah, all day today. So yeah, I just didn't realize that I was going to have to deal with all those problems. But in the end, now I know how to work on a small budget. So
I think you bring up a really important point, because don't die, Christine. Do we need to take a break?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we're taking a break. Okay, we're back again now that we've all recovered. Usually it's me that's coughing because I'm the one with asthma, so I totes get it. Yeah, we're all good now. Okay, so to go back to your challenge, I think you make an important point about money versus time, and you do learn to work on a small budget, but at some point, the lower budget means more time. It really does. So you have to weigh that in, especially as a designer and your contract, and so you've got to manage that, which leads into my next question about challenges of being a professional theater, either set designer or TD, just being in the profession. What are some of the biggest challenges you face?
Remembering to take time for my home life. With theater, it's everybody always thinks, you know, oh, what do you do for a living? No, I build sets for theater. Well, that's gotta be fun. And it is fun. I love it. You know, that's why I do it. But you know, it's not fun all the time. You don't want to do it 24/7. So sometimes it's hard because you get really roped into it. You have deadlines, you have pressure, you have all these other people that you're working with, collaborating with. Sometimes you feel pressured to work all the time. So sometimes I just have to force myself to go home and have a nice frosty beverage and and watch some Netflix.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably one of the hardest things.
Yeah, striking that balance. I think that's been a theme through most of the videos, is talking about striking that balance. And it is hard because the more you work, the more you usually get paid as a contractor, but you're no good to anyone if you're burnt out.
Yeah.
What are some of the other areas that by having your downtime you either draw influence from, or that you feel like really recharge your battery, or what are some of the ways that you survive?
Some of the ways that I survive is I have cats and I love them to death. And so they really help because they're my family. You know, I don't have a family. I'm not married or have kids or anything. And so I take care of them. They take care of me, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I love spending time with them, and it's what they say about animals is that it's just relaxing, just petting them, just being around them. And it's true. But I read a lot. So every single night, at least for an hour, I read. Sometimes I'm juggling multiple books at one time. And I don't often read about theater.
Go figure.
Yeah. And then I also do stained glass work, so I really enjoy doing that, and that really feeds my creativity, especially when I'm doing technical direction, when I'm breaking down how to build something. I'm not dealing with the pretty aspects of it.
Right.
So if I can like make a flower or something in my stained glass work, it's a little bit more, it's a little bit more tactile and pretty and fun than 2x4s.
Has stained glass changed the way you design or the way that you look at set design?
Yeah, it does. Mostly because you have to look at, to keep stained glass interesting, you have to not always think on one plane. Because usually people think stained glass, it's all got to be one plane, right? Well, it doesn't. You can actually layer the glass, and it's a whole lot more fun. So, like if you're doing a butterfly, your body can actually be up above your wings, and it just makes that dimension a little bit more interesting. So when I look at my scenic design now, I think, oh well, I can layer. I can make things look have a little bit more depth by not doing much at all, and create interest. So.
That's really interesting. Okay, last question. Any other words of wisdom or advice that you can give to my students if they're interested in going on in theater, if they're just theater enthusiasts? Any words of wisdom?
I think just life wisdom, in that, not that I know everything about,
You are the guru.
the meaning of life. But just life wisdom in that, respect people around you. Always give a good impression. Be on time and do what you say you're going to do. If you are a responsible, respectful human being, then you're going to succeed in anything that you do. You've got to stay true to yourself, but you've just got to treat people the way you would like to be treated. And I feel like you're going to have a good work life then. And that's true in theater, and it's true in any other aspect. So
theater skills are life skills.
Theater skills are life skills.
It's true. Those are great words of wisdom. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Christine. Don't forget to work on your directing projects and your set design project this week. Also, come and see Christine's design for Little Shop of Horrors. I'm also doing the costume design for it, and it runs that first weekend in November into the second weekend in November, and I'll be posting those dates on Rock. Thank you.